doesn't
I
like
can- I
his
thought it was
love
just
to be
romance
funny.
Yeah,
altogether.
love can't be funny. It's got to be serious.
Yeah.
Welcome to Josh's House of Nerd podcast.
Hello, Nerd Nation. I'm Josh, and I welcome you to the podcast. Grab a cold evergreen goblet of blue milk and make yourself comfortable here at my House of Nerd, please. Today we are on the podcast topic for what is our podcast topic? Espionage. I accidentally just realized I deleted that part from. All right. Anyways, today the podcast we were talking about the topic for a bunch, which is espionage, and today we're talking about the 2018 movie,
Yep.
Red Joan, starring Dame Judi Dench, Stephen Campbell Moore, and Sophie Cookson. This movie is a movie that's based on the same novel written by Jeannie Rooney, which is inspired by the life of Melita Norwood. Norwood worked for the British Non-Ferrous Metals Research Association as a secretary and supplied the Soviet Union with nuclear secrets. The materials that Norwood betrayed to the USSR hastened the pace of what the Soviets developed nuclear bomb technology. So let's talk about this movie. I honestly had never heard of this movie before you brought this one up. So
I mean,
John?
it is fairly new, and it's not your typical spy thriller, I don't think so. And I don't know. I think it came out. I don't know if it came out in theaters.
Was it a Netflix like movie or was I don't know either.
No, I think it did come out in theaters. I'm trying to read through it, and it's kind of weird. It released at the Toronto International Film Festival
Okay.
in 2018, and then IFC acquired the U.S. distribution rights, so it probably had a small release in the States.
Oh, okay.
And it wasn't released in the States until 2019.
Oh, really?
So it's still fairly new.
Okay. So maybe it got lost in the shuffle of COVID and all that stuff a little bit, even though it was a little bit before COVID.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Probably. And I doubt it was a very big film at the time anyways, so.
I mean, it seems a little, it's not indie definitely, but it seems like it's a little bit lower key movie.
Yeah, and
which doesn't
definitely
mean
lower
it was
budget.
bad or anything. Matter of fact, I didn't think it was bad at all, but.
Yeah, what did you guys think of the movie? Because I'd seen it before. That's why I recommended it to the podcast. But I'm interested to hear what you guys thought about it.
I think that it kept my attention. I was interested in what was going to go on. I was a little surprised by this movie about you, even though it was about espionage and all that stuff. It was quite a bit of a kind of a romance in a way, and
Okay.
you know, of her and her many loves, and which I was fine with. It just seems like you always joke about like how you're not into like romantic movies and stuff like that.
I'm not into romantic comedies.
Oh, is it just romantic comedy?
Just romantic comedies. Like
He doesn't like his
thought it was
love
just
to be
romance
funny.
yeah,
altogether.
love can't be funny. It's got to be serious.
Yeah.
Okay, that completely makes me now not wonder why you like this movie. Okay, but I thought I like movies like this. I like where you're not sure the motivations of people. You're not sure why they're doing it. You know, the consequences, and you know, it's always good. I always like Judi Dench. She's good, and the actress who portrays her as a younger person, I think does an amazing job. I think she's a very good actress, and I think she portrayed it very well. And I thought it was a very compelling story. So that's kind of my fast take on that movie. Crit, what'd you think?
Well, I thought it was put together okay, but it also didn't really like there wasn't anything really exciting in it.
Yeah, I would agree. With that.
I think everything was pretty transparent about what was happening. You know, there wasn't like a whole lot of reveals. There wasn't a lot of like intrigue, and you know, it really didn't feel like it left the audience in an idea of like, you know, I guess that makes sense because it's based on a real person, and if anybody knows the headlines, they already know, at least what the general
So,
public thinks
so they're
happens.
not necessarily trying to hide it.
Right, they're not trying to hide it, but it also made the movie for a non-UK person. I didn't know about her, and through all the movie, I'm just like, all right, they aren't really playing this towards like a, kind of who done it, or and everything. It was more along the lines of, I don't know. The thing that I got at the end of the movie was, this is like rationalization the movie. It's like, if you ask someone late in their life to reflect upon these events, they would most likely rationalize all of them, and I don't know, it just wasn't that compelling. It was okay. I mean, the actors were great. The screenwriting was fine. The cinematography was fine, but it wasn't a bad movie, but also wasn't a very memorable one. I don't think I'll go back and watch it.
And to be honest, like I recommended this movie not because I think it's a good not because I think it's a good movie. I think it's okay. I'm more
okay.
along the middle road. The reason I recommended this one is because I really enjoyed seeing the internals of what makes somebody turn on their country or rationalize it, and you're absolutely right. It's rationalization of the movie because she's rationalizing her choices in men, in who she's hanging out with, what she's doing. But I enjoyed the glimpse into the real lives behind the people that betray those around them. Is kind of why I suggested and why I picked this as an espionage film, because and I think Judi Dench does a really good job of it. It's, I, like you said, Crit, I think if you were in the UK, we probably already would have all known the ending, that it actually happened or something along those lines. But her son at the time didn't. And going through that whole process with her, before she finally basically admits to it, it's an interesting road to see someone take to become a spy. And it's not the typical, I'm going to serve my country, I'm going to become a spy for our side. It's, I feel like I'm serving all of mankind, and then unfortunately that means I'm betraying my current side.
That was interesting what you just said about how she never in her mind thought she was a spy, really. I mean, she come down to, I mean, it's kind of what I felt like towards the end she was saying to her son is, he was saying, you betrayed your country, you're a traitor. And she's like, no, I would, the humankind, I was doing it for humankind, but in her mind, she'd convinced herself that she wasn't a traitor. She just wanted to make sure that there was this the mutual assurance that nobody was going to blow each other up because they all had the same thing.
Well,
Yep.
I mean, it is a rationale. It's very much rationalized. Don't get me wrong. It's very much so from her point of view.
It also changed halfway through. Halfway for the first half of the movie, her justification was, at least in the flashbacks, was Russia's an ally and we should share. And then later on, it became, well, if everybody has it, then no one will use it, type idea.
Well, and then in the beginning, she was like, she's very much of the everyone was doing it at the time, basically.
Well, that's as far as like hanging out with like socialists and communists and stuff like that. That I don't
not necessarily the sharing of information.
Okay, but I know the film tries to equate the two, but I don't. So just personally, I just don't equate the two. Like, you can be a communist and still a patriot of your country that's non-communist. It's totally possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just, it's a little harder. It's it's not going to be an easy ideology to kind of stick with. But yeah, as far as like knowingly sneaking top secret information out of, I mean, in some sense, it's the height of hubris, right? It's like, she even rationalizes it with a, I had the power to do it. No one else, was in that position, and, and stuff like that. And I don't know. I wondered if you guys bought her reasoning, like if she became sympathetic because of those reasonings, or if you were like, maybe not.
I definitely didn't. In my mind, she's a traitor. She, I didn't become sympathetic for. I get where she was coming from a little bit. I guess I kind of understand her reasoning, but from the point of view of being a patriot to your country, and protecting the secrets of your country, I really struggle. I would never do that to my own country, and the part it really felt like in the middle she kind of turned on a dime, about she says that he asks her, the professor later, like, why'd you do it? And she said Hiroshima. Okay, great, yeah, but that also stopped the war. It was a tragedy. It was horrible, and we recognize that. But so, but that was the reasoning that she started to trade on her country. I really struggled with that part. Of that, I'm a patriot, and she was hardcore patriot with all of her friends and her lover, and the German Jew that was her lover, and all stuff. And then all of a sudden, hardcore the other way. Okay, I'm full on in trader now, full on in, giving them because I want them to have it too. I don't know. It might have really happened, but I still struggle from a personal point of view.
Well,
How you get from point A to point B.
I think that's the thing. It really happened, and so this person is a person, and so I think their motivations can be flawed. It's not going to be like wrapped up nicely in a bow like you'd see for a movie. I think to me it's a, like, what rationalization does first of all is it changes your perception of events, and then you, who knows, like there might have been a lot more motivation in there that we just don't know about. But again, she's just a person, and a real person, and so I think it not making all a complete sense and not being completely logical is absolutely true to form as a true story, as a real person. Like it's not going to be wrapped up nicely, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, totally makes sense.
But I really appreciated Dame Judi Dench's her performance in this, especially the beginning performance where she's playing dumb basically and playing the part of an old lady. Like her performance like really was very well done. I felt like I was, and I know partly is she's actually getting that old. So how much acting do you have to do there, I guess. But it really felt like she was playing it up, and did a really good job with it.
Oh,
So
she's just a great actress.
so I wanted to add that one in there before I forgot about it, because she did a great job there.
She's just a great actress in whatever she does, man. I've liked almost everything that I've ever seen her in. So it was nice to see her. And you know what? I'll reiterate. She's a very good performer, but I don't take away from any of the other people too. I thought all the actors were of a good caliber in this movie. A lot of
Yeah,
movies I look at and I go, it really takes me out of the movie when there's just poor acting, and I never was taken out of the movie on this one.
Max wasn't my favorite. Maybe that's just because he was cheating on his wife the whole time.
Yeah,
But Leo, wow, he did a really good job.
agreed.
Really, really enjoyed. Like you could tell there was passion there, and belief, and I think it was a really, really well done, and like just the chemistry between young Judi Dench's character, or young Joan, I guess, and that would have been, I guess, Sophie Cookson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so just the chemistry there between those two is really well done, are really, really good on screen. So I really appreciated it. But yeah, I was interested to see what you guys thought of kind of a more biopic thing of a spy for the other side. Like it was just interesting to me to get motivation, to see what happened, and really how long it took for her to actually give up and become a spy. Like how many times she'd been asked, how many situations she'd been in to give that information, or to to be an even more outspoken member of the party, and how long it actually took for her to almost be worn down to the point of giving in and thinking like this is a good idea type deal.
Yeah, Hiroshima.
Yeah.
I think that I'm guessing that the book probably delves into that a lot more. Is the reason they made a movie out of it. Um, I don't know if that translates well, because I'm with Josh. It flips rather quick. Like it doesn't feel like a real character study, right? I mean, it takes the entire movie to get to her betrayal and her finding out and stuff like that. But I don't know. It just doesn't. I don't know. It just didn't strike me as like a really interesting expose on either the recruitment processes or her feelings about the recruitment process and stuff like that.
Okay, I can see
Do
that.
you think it leaned into the romances a little too hard instead of the espionage part of it?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, maybe the whole point is that the romance was a large part of the recruitment process, and then it's a real question that they don't really even get into, because it's not, the movie doesn't want to go there on whether or
Yeah.
not Leo is sincere or Sophie is sincere in their process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
And and then the dalliance with the head scientist and all that stuff. I mean, I guess that's what happened. I mean, he ended up marrying and going to Australia and stuff like that. But like, it's, I don't know. I feel not weird about it, but just kind of blah about it for some reason. And that's just me personally. That's not necessarily because the movie is there. But
I'd be interested to read the book and to see if there's I would feel like there's a lot more, and there's a lot more, I'm sure, headspace stuff in there where you're in her head as she's going through this, but you just can't really portray that.
As long as it's
well
not
in
like
film.
being in their head, like in the Dune 1984 movie.
Yeah. I wonder if Red Joan would have changed if they had done that. The voiceover thoughts.
Yeah.
I mean, you at least wouldn't be able to accuse them of being bland.
That's true. That's true.
Did you guys feel like it went a little long?
I don't know.
Maybe it's just my overall feeling. Like towards the end, I was just kind of like, all right, I was done with the movie to be done. I was ready for the movie to be done, and it's not because I was uninterested. I just got to that point and all right, I'm done. I'm good. Let's.
I figured it out.
15 minutes, I was done.
Yeah, I think JHoN has the right path on this, in the sense that if the catch at the beginning of the movie is how did she turn, like what caused her to turn, then you probably are interested in the whole movie and what it wants to say about that. And so it probably keeps you for the entire runtime. I think if you're into it of a did she or did she not do it, because we don't know, because we're in the U.S. or whatever,
ignorant Americans.
It won't catch it. That's solved halfway through the film, and now you have the rest of the half of the film where you're left without a mystery to solve.
Yeah,
and
I can see that.
I could feel that in the last part of it. It's like, well, I know now that she chose to do this, and now it's just a how did she do it? But how did she do it wasn't extremely interesting. Like it's real world, no doubt. It's not Mission Impossible.
And maybe that's a little bit of target audience too. To the UK, if your target audience already knows, like you're not going to spend, like you said, the time on the whodunit. But if it had been targeted toward an American audience who had never heard of this, like it would have done a lot better about keeping those reveals as and trying to make them impactful reveals and
maybe a bit more like the Imitation Game or something like that, where like the whole time it was all the the whole movie there was reveals going on, there's
well intrigue, I think it comes on
things like that really sucked you in. I love that movie.
I think it comes down to how fascinating the character is,
Okay.
because I'm not sure she's like she's a physicist. She helped with this. The movie made her out to be extremely smart, and I'm sure she was. She's no longer alive. Um, the idea that's fine, but we don't get to interact with that at all. So now I'm not navigating a movie where a fascinating character with deep insights and an internal idea is happening. Like she's not wrestling with the ideology of it. She's basically not on board until she's on board, and then it's just rationalizations afterwards. At least that's how it came across to me. So because of that, there's no fascinating like insights that her character is providing in the movie, either in conversation with other characters or whatever methodology the storytellers want to take. I don't know really why she wants to do this,
Yeah.
and it ends with basically um, the press conference in her garden, and it's like, okay, that's great. Her son just flips all of a sudden in a movie ending style. There was no. I mean, there's a lot there they could have gone into. Pullbacks, maybe not pull back some of the romance, but pull back some of the romance to have more philosophical conversations between her and her son. Right? That's
I
a
would have liked
great.
that more.
Yeah, there's a great section there, and that's in the last half of the film.
Mhm.
And we could have, really delved into what her ideas are around patriotism. And she has this idea that she's not a traitor, and she wants to explain it, but the movie never really lets her. Her son storms out. It's, and then all of a sudden he just shows up at the end. Is like, I represent her and I'm also her son. It's like, okay,
So
that's great, I guess, but that doesn't help me understand her and where she's coming from.
this film has gotten middle of the road reviews, and I think it deserves them. I think most places are giving it 6 out of 10, and I think for all the reasons that you just listed, I think that's a very accurate review of this film. Like that's
Okay.
where it should sit, in my opinion.
I do like it when you say I'm right.
But and it has like, there's a cool concept and a cool idea, and
Yeah.
but the execution could have been not 6 out of 10. It could have been a lot better.
Yeah, like I said, I want to know. I can imagine wanting to know more, like the movie baiting her rationale and ideology. That would
Yeah.
have been, personally for me, more fascinating than what the movie actually gave me.
Yeah, I can see that.
And so, like in a biopic, that's what I look for. Like The Imitation Game, that's kind of what I'm looking for. Is there's an interesting character, and let's see how they navigate these waters. That type of thing. And there's some of that in this movie. I mean, there's a bit of woman in a man's world, and intelligent woman in a man's world. And learning about romance and love, and the power of the friends that you make and stuff like that, as far as like how they can get you in trouble in this sense. But like it never really gets there, I feel.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. That's kind of about all I've got. I think we've discussed kind of what I wanted to discuss about the film. So
I think we went over most of the points that were applicable.
Yep. Crit, do you have anything else to add?
I don't have anything else.
Okay.
Let's go to ratings then. John, you wanna
I'd probably watch this with my mom, just because, again, I enjoy the conversations that come out of the film.
Okay, fair enough. Crit, you want to give yours?
Yeah, I think the 6 out of 10 rating is appropriate. It's not a badly put together film. It's not boring in most of the. I think it drags a little bit just because I'm not interested in what we've talked about previously, but I do think that it can create good conversations. I'm with John on that. It's like, if you play the game afterwards of, well, what if you were in that situation? How would you try to rationalize it? Like past the point of, like choosing whether or not to be a traitor, or, to leak secrets or whatever else like that. More along the lines of, afterwards, how would you rationalize it? Like, let's go through the ideologies there and try to figure out it. That's an interesting conversation. It's just this movie doesn't have that conversation. So,
I mean, it did make me think that. I would agree with that. I did, even though it didn't really have a good conversation about that. I did think about it. And matter of fact, at dinner, me and my kids were Lily. She's really into history. She wants to be a history teacher. She, we got talking about this, and it did kind of spur up the the thinking and just a conversation with her about what would you do? Was this, what do you think about how the direction this lady went in? We had about a 10-minute conversation, and it did, it was an interesting kind of course to kind of follow, but at the same time, we kind of came all to the same conclusion that we've come to here, no, we probably wouldn't go that far, even though our thoughts, maybe we didn't agree with it, but we wouldn't go so far as to, in our minds, betray our country, even though, we might have thought that agreed with possibly what she thought was the outcome. There's definitely a line that I wouldn't, or she wouldn't cross, and stuff, whether I thought it was right or wrong. But, it's funny that you say 6 out of 10. I gave it a 6 out of 10. Killer Saint medallions is what I gave on this one. For the same reasons. I thought it was really well acted. I thought it was, well put together. It was a little bit lackluster, in spots, but I didn't hate it. So anyways, that's, I'm right there with you. So, all right. So we have come up with,
we're ready for
ratings.
picks.
Now let's go to Crit. You are giving us the new shows, and then after Crit's done, we'll talk about our topic for next month.
All right. Number 1, Forrest Gump and the Pretty Woman solve problems in the Middle East.
Okay.
Number 2, Superman's dad and one of the Batmans solve a murder. And number 3, Plutarch Heavensbee and the Goblin try to figure out what happened.
Okay. I like the Superman's dad and one of the Batmans.
I actually was leaning towards that one too, John.
Okay, we'll do
All right.
that. We'll do that one.
All of them were quite intriguing, though. I mean,
I worked hard at these.
the first one I was leaning a little bit towards as well. Anyways, go ahead.
All right. So Forrest Gump and the Pretty Woman solve problems in the Middle East. That's Charlie Wilson's War.
Oh, I've never seen that one.
That's
That's a Tom Hanks movie. Yeah,
It's pretty good.
Plutarch Heavensbee and the Goblin try to figure out what happened. That's A Most Wanted Man.
Oh,
I've seen that one either.
Dang.
Yeah, that would have been a good one.
That would have been a really good one.
Please say that we didn't do the only bummer one of the group.
No, this one's good too. All right, so the one you chose, Superman's dad and one of the Batmans solve a murder. That's State of Play.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. Okay.
Yeah, Russell Crowe, Ben
Russell
Affleck.
Crowe, yep.
Yeah, Rachel McAdams.
I've wanted to see that one as well. Okay.
I remember
excited
bits and pieces of it, but it's been a long time since I've seen it. So
Should be interesting.
Yeah, it should be interesting. All right. I look forward to that one. State of Play. Did you by chance look up where it's located, or like if it's on any of the streamings?
I didn't.
That's okay. I was just curious. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. All right. Next month's topic. I thought about this one a long time ago, and I thought, this might be fun and stuff, because some of the movies that come out of this topic there's some good ones and there's some clunkers out there. But the topic that I pick for next month are movies that were once TV shows, or TV shows that were that a movie came out of.
Okay.
okay.
All right. So
There's a lot of them.
It's like TV. It's like movies based on TV show IPs or something like that.
Yeah. Movies that were originally a TV show. So
but not the other way
from
around.
TV that moved into a movie.
Well, we're not doing TV shows.
No,
Right.
no.
But we're not doing movies that spawn TV shows.
No.
Okay.
So the TV
yeah.
show has to come first. Okay, that's a good rule.
Yes, the TV show comes first. That then spawned a movie because of its popularity or whatever.
Okay.
And there's a lot more out there than you think.
I'm sure there's a lot. I can think of
Yeah.
a couple just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So it'd be. I know it's kind of an out there topic, but I thought, we'll throw a little bit of a non-serious one in the cogs for right now. It was either that or ninjas.
we already did it. Yeah, martial arts was close enough. It's just like
no, but
ninjas are
ninjas.
pretty specific.
Yeah, that's true. It'd be very specific, but
Yeah.
it'd
You
feel like
definitely-
martial arts all over again.
You definitely wouldn't get the warlords or only the strong or even
That's
the
true.
Matrix. So
No, it's got to have ninjas in it.
yeah.
Anyways, that's a topic for another time.
All right.
But anyways, this is what. Hopefully, we can get some good movies out of this one. And like I said, there's some good ones out there, and there's some clunkers, and that just makes it fun.
Yeah. Did they
and
make
stuff
a
to
Mork
see
and
which
Mindy
clunkers
movie?
you might pick. Anyways, all right, guys. I think that's it. I don't think we have anything else, right?
That's
Nope.
it.
All right. Well, we appreciate everybody listening to the podcast, and we thank you for supporting our channel here. And as always, may you be excellent to each other and live long and prosper from all of us here at Josh's House of Nerd. Have a good night.
Thanks for watching. For more nerdy awesomeness, please like and subscribe and check out